does it diminish your supercapacity to love?
Bob, it is great speaking with you. Look, my friend, right off the top, I got to say, I loved being around you when we were at Rogers. You were always a staple point. Loved your comments. Loved how you got people, just rustled around. But the thing was, though, man, you knew your stuff. You knew how to get people interested, and you knew how to be a classic broadcaster. My friend, how does it feel having the career that you have had for so many years and being able to do the things that you've been able to do? And like I said, be able to connect with people across this country and really across North America.
Well, you're very kind, and obviously I don't think very much about that stuff. You just kind of go in, you do your job every day, and you hope people enjoy it and get something out of it, and that's what I tried to do for all those years. And who knows, come back down the road too.
Well, it's funny because I remember somebody telling me a few years ago that you owned a winery. Was that true?
Yeah, I bought Stony Ridge in 2013, and we've been strong ever since. And in that first year, I got a phone call out of the blue from, and I can't even remember if it was a management. I guess it was one of the that there were guys in the band that found out I owned the winery, and they were fans of mine, listened to my show, and asked if we would do a wine for them. And I happened to be in the car at the time with the president of the winery, guy who ran it, and I kind of looked at him and said, I don't know whether it's a good idea or not, but we decided we would do the deal, and we agreed to 1,000 cases of the first Hip wine, which was a red blend, which we called Fully Completely after their selling album. It was the 20th anniversary of that album at the time. And so I said, well, how long do you think it's going to take for us to go through those 1,000 cases? And my president said, probably 18 months. I said, well, okay, not the end of the world. And so we launched our online sales initiative with the Tragically Hip red wine. And in the first day, we got 506. We sold 565 cases of wine in one day, and we'd only bottled 500 of it, and we only had 1,000. So we went into complete panic mode right away, and the wine sold out in no time. I want to say less than a week. And so, in the wine business, you can't just, go to the vault and pull out some more. You got to wait. So it took about 16 more months before we had any more. And every year the sales have gone up, and it ultimately became the fastest selling VQA wine in LCBO Vintage's history. And then we subsequently added a Chardonnay a couple of years later, called Ahead by a Century after their song. And today we launched Flamenco, which is a rosé, also from the Tragically Hip. So the Hip now have 3 wines that we produce for them, and this was the opening day for us.
When this originally came around, you kind of talked about it already, but what was the pressure like for you, knowing the fact that this was going to be part of an iconic band, especially losing its lead singer, knowing that if you were going to put the name Tragically Hip on anything, it's got to be damn good?
Well, I don't think there was any tremendous pressure, Rudy, to tell you the honest-to-goodness truth. What I have to confess is that we had no idea really what we were getting into. We had never even contemplated celebrity brands. And it is a completely different animal. We're very proud of all of the wines that are inside the Hip bottles. But what we also understand is, based on our post-sales research, we believe that 70%, 70, of the Hip wine that we've sold has never been opened. And so we had no way to anticipate this, but people buy it as a collector's item. They buy it as a keepsake. the connection, and you would know this being around music almost all your life, and involved in it. People get attachments to certain music acts that stay with them their entire lives. Celebrities come and go, athletes come and go, movie stars come and go. But I often say to people, if I ask you who your 3 favorite music acts were when you were in your 20s, and then say, do you still listen to them today? Invariably, they say, oh, yeah. So whether you're 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 or however old you are, music is something you keep with you your entire life. So that relationship between a fan and a music artist is really quite extraordinary. Now, I'd love to tell you that I'm so smart that I figured this out right from the beginning. But the truth is, I don't have a clue. These are all things that I realized, as we went through the process. Year after year, we'd make more, it would sell out. We'd make more, it would sell out. The first order from the LCBO that we got was for 100 cases, and this year it's 4,100 cases. So that tells you something, And I mean, that's over and above what we sell ourselves, both at the winery and online. So, and the notion that eventually you'd run out of hip fans, which we also considered. Well, this is our 6th vintage of the red wine. So, and sales we sell every bottle and we sell it quickly, probably as fast or faster than any other wine in the country. So it's been a good story and a good run, and now we have a really, really good rosé to go with the white and the red.
How do you go about picking the name of picking it with so many Tragically Hip songs and hits? How do you pick which one do you think is going to work to which flavor that you're going to put with it?
Yeah, it's not really science. Fully Completely was pretty obvious because it related, as I said, it was the 20th anniversary of that album. That was their best-selling album. And they were touring that album that year. So that was a no-brainer. And now Flamenco, actually the band picked that name. They chose that song, and they thought it fit well with a rosé, which I agree. And so we agreed very quickly on that one, and we went through the label design. We have a company that does all our labels for us, and they do a fantastic job. And I love this label. Whether that helps sell wine or not, we think it does, but who knows? But it's got the depiction on it is there's 6 stripes, horizontal stripes across the label, and they're there to depict guitar strings. And
I love that.
And if you run your finger across the label, the strings are raised. So you can actually feel them. And if you close your eyes and run your fingers across the label, they actually do feel like guitar strings. So it's little things like that we try and incorporate in it. And then in the middle, Ahead by a Century, one of their iconic singles. And so it's not a scientific process by any stretch of the imagination. We consistently try and name the product so that when the fan of the band was walking through a liquor store or wherever they buy their wine, it's instantly recognizable. And we hope and assume there's some sort of attachment to the artist. And if you can establish that, then at least you can get them to buy one bottle and try it. And of course, we've gone through a process at the winery where when people come in who haven't bought hip wine before, we always recommend they buy 2 bottles. Well, first we ask them if they're a fan and say, look, if you buy 2 bottles, you can keep one, and it could be a keepsake. It's a talking point. You can display it in your house, and people do. They display it proudly. And I said, we say the other bottle is there for you to drink. If you like it, you'll come back to it. If you don't care for it, if it's not to your taste, well, then you won't buy any more. That's okay too. And of course, most of the time they come back and buy more. But they all seem to have a bottle or two bottles or now three bottles that they keep and display someplace prominently in their homes. And I've not only, I had the great pleasure of walking into people's homes, and they will say, "Hey, come here," and they'll take me someplace in the house. Could be the kitchen, could be a bar downstairs, or wherever it happens to be, and they'll say, "Look," and there will be a bottle of Hip wine prominently displayed. And if you actually got lucky enough to buy one of the magnums that we did for 2012, which was the first year, that bottle sold for $200 initially. We only did 250 of them. They were signed by all members of the band, including Gord. And at least two of those bottles have resold, and both of them resold for over $2,000.
Amazing.
So, it's a keepsake, but it also, appreciates in value. When we produce a wine, however many bottles we produce, that's all there are going to be. So if we tell you that we've got, 5,500 cases, we don't have 5,600 cases, and there never will be 5,600 cases. It is what it is, and then you move on to the next vintage.
So I guess the important question is, you kind of mentioned the new one is out as of today as we speak. How many bottles are out there, and where can we get them?
Well, unfortunately, as you know, in this environment, the winery is not open to the public. So this initial release today was for orders. So if people want to order, it couldn't be more simple. You go to stonyridge.com and just follow the directions. And the wine will be delivered right to you, to your house, or wherever you happen to live. And the other option is you can order it through Stony Ridge, through the winery, either, through email or preferably by phoning the winery. And if you are in the Niagara area or planning to be down there, you can pick it up right at the winery. So, as I said, I was there today, and there were actually people coming by, and we can't let them into the store, but we put their order packaged right outside the door. They pick it up, give them a wave, and off they go. So it's, all things considered, it's pretty easy, pretty simple. But this wine, and it will be released in the LCBO the end of May. So you're getting about a 30-day advance right now. And, the rosé is a favorite of women. And Mother's Day is not too far away. And so hopefully this gives people an opportunity to grab a bottle or two and hopefully share it with their mother. But if not, maybe as a gift. Who knows? In these times, who knows whether you're even seeing your mom, right? Exactly. Hopefully you talk to her on the phone, but can you see her? Well, I guess that's up for debate.
And we are talking about the warm weather is coming back. People are going to be in their backyards, most likely, as Canadians, listening some Tragically Hip, and why not drink some wine by the Tragically Hip at the same time with their names on it. I think this is a brilliant idea. I want to say thank you so much for making time to speak with me. Thank you so much for what you've done for broadcasting over the years, and thank you for making things just a little bit more comfortable and being able to highlight one of the greatest bands Canada has ever had.
Well, you've been a good friend for a long time, Rudy, and I wish you nothing but the best as well. And thank you for those kind words. And if you like the Hip and you don't have a Hip, I can't imagine there are Hip fans out there that don't have a bottle yet. But if so, we've got something new for you now, and hopefully you try it.
Fantastic. My friend, thank you so much for making time for me. You take care, and we'll definitely talk soon.
Anytime, pal.
Take care. Bye-bye.